We learned to control this effect, first with particles, then with information, eventually with matter. While most civilizations focused on conquering space, we explored dimensions. It gave us an advantage, Su Min added. We could observe technologies from parallel Earths where development took different paths. We could learn from their mistakes and successes. Min Su frowned. You stole ideas from yourselves. We shared knowledge across dimensions, Tai Sung corrected. And we discovered something remarkable. Humans in almost every reality eventually discovered dimensional travel. It seems to be a natural path for our species. He waved his hand again, and the platform now showed Earth's solar system, but with many more planets than should exist. We've brought habitable worlds from other dimensions into phase with our own, Ta Sung said proudly. Earth appears to have only one moon to your sensors, but we actually have access to 17 habitable worlds within our solar system. Human population? Daho asked, stunned by the implications. Currently around 11 billion in this dimensional plane. Su Min answered, with another 30 billion across our phase-shifted colonies. Daho struggled to comprehend what he was hearing. It will take less than a second. Before Daho could protest, the room flashed with blue light. When the light faded, they were standing in a different chamber, this one with large windows showing a breathtaking view of Earth from orbit. Welcome to Dimensional Station Alpha, Su Min said, Earth's primary defense and research facility. Je Wu rushed to the window, her eyes wide with wonder. Incredible. No signs of acceleration or displacement effects. True instantaneous transport. It's not exactly instantaneous, said a new voice. A tall human male entered the room. He wore simple clothes with no markings of rank, but Su Min and Song Ho both straightened slightly when he appeared. We don't move through normal space, the man continued. We step sideways into another dimension where distance works differently, then step back into this dimension at our destination point. Admiral Daho, this is Director Tai Sung, Su Min said with respect. He leads our Dimensional Research Division. Tai Sung smiled warmly. I've been looking forward to meeting you. We've been studying your fleet's design. Quite impressive engineering, though somewhat limited by conventional physics. Daho wasn't sure if he should feel complimented or insulted. Director, I have many questions. Of course. But first, let me show you something few non-humans have ever seen. Tai Sung led them to a large circular platform. This is a dimensional viewer. It allows us to observe multiple realities simultaneously. With a wave of his hand, the air above the platform filled with images, thousands of Earths, each slightly different. We discovered dimensional shifting by accident, Tai Sung explained. 200 years ago, when humans were indeed primitive by galactic standards, one of our scientists noticed strange patterns in particle behavior. She theorized that particles were actually slipping between dimensions. The images change, showing human history unfolding differently across various Earths. Daho considered this. Your recommendations. We should send unmanned probes first, and we should maintain distance from Earth until we understand what we're facing. The Admiral nodded. Make it so. 3 days later, the Centauri fleet jumped to hyperspace, bound for the Sol system. As the stars stretched into lines of light, Daho stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Glory. Admiral, said Min Su, a message from the Council. The Vexillian beacon has stopped transmitting. A chill ran down Daho's spine. The emergency beacon, the one that survived the fleet's destruction. Yes, sir. It went silent an hour ago. The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. Something had destroyed even the emergency beacon. Hold course, ordered Daho, but increase alert status. I want all sensors at maximum range when we arrive. As the fleet traveled through hyperspace, Ji Wu continued studying the records of the vanished ships. Late one night, she discovered something that made her blood run cold. Admiral, she said, rushing to Daho's quarters, I've found a pattern in the disappearances. Each fleet vanished exactly 14 days after entering the Sol system. How long until we arrive? 3 days, sir. Daeho's face was grim. Then we have 17 days to solve this mystery before we join the others. The Zentari fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, far from any planets. Immediately, their sensors began scanning. No signs of danger, reported Minsu. System appears normal. Launch the probes, ordered Daeho. Full spectrum analysis. I want to know everything about this system. As the unmanned probes sped toward the inner planets, Daeho watched the view screen showing the distant blue world that was Earth. It looked so peaceful, so harmless. What secrets did it hide? What power could make entire fleets vanish without a trace? The countdown had begun. 17 days to find answers. 17 days to survive. The stars looked different from this part of space. Admiral Daeho stood on the bridge of the eternal glory, watching as Earth grew larger on the main screen. 5 days had passed since their arrival in the Sol system, and so far they had found nothing to explain the disappearances. Status report, he said. Captain Minsu approached with a datapad. All ships maintain stealth protocols. No signs of detection from Earth or its primitive satellites. Our probes have completed scans of the outer planets, and the probes sent to the inner system. But we wanted to be sure we could protect ourselves if necessary. Minsu, who had been silent until now, spoke up. So when our fleets approached Earth, we simply shifted them into another dimensional plane. Songho finished. No weapons fired. No one harmed. Shu Min nodded. We welcomed your people as guests and gave them a choice. Return home after agreeing to keep our secret or stay and learn. Many chose to stay. Daeho frowned. And those who returned home, why didn't they reveal your existence? Would you have believed them? Su Min asked with a smile. Stories of humans with magical technology that makes ships disappear and creates impossible spaces. They would have been labeled insane. Besides, Songho added, we only returned those who genuinely agreed with our approach. Those who might have posed a threat were given alternative opportunities. The implied threat wasn't lost on Daeho. So why reveal yourselves now? Why let me see all this? Shu Min's expression grew serious. Because it's time. We've observed long enough. The Galactic Council is facing threats it doesn't yet understand. We believe we can help. What threats? Asked Jiwoo. Su Min touched the display. It shifted to show strange energy patterns at the galaxy's edge. Something is coming. Something not of this dimension. We've detected it moving through the dimensional planes. And you think this, whatever it is, threatens the galaxy? Daeho asked. We know it does, Su Min replied. We've seen what it did to other galaxies and other dimensional planes. That's why we need to work together now. She stepped closer to Daeho. We want you to be our ambassador to the Galactic Council. Tell them what you've seen here. Help them understand we come as allies, not conquerors. Daeho looked around the room, at the technology beyond his comprehension, at the humans who had hidden among the stars for centuries. If I refuse? Shu Min smiled. Then you join the others who chose to stay. But I don't think you'll refuse, Admiral. You already understand what's at stake. Daeho nodded slowly. The galaxy was about to change forever, and he would be the one to deliver. The new Su Min led Daeho and his officers to a transport chamber. The room was a simple circle with a glowing floor. No doors or windows were visible besides the one they had entered through. This will take us to Earth, Su Min explained. Please stand in the center. Daeho hesitated. How far are we traveling? About 50 million kilometers, Songho said casually. He led them through a doorway that seemed to appear from nowhere in the white wall. Beyond was a massive observation deck overlooking what appeared to be a hangar bay. Inside floated dozens of alien ships. Daeho recognized them immediately as vessels from the missing fleets. They're all here, gasped Jiwoo. All intact. Of course, said Songho. Why would we damage them? They're fascinating examples of different approaches to space travel. Daho stared at the human. You've been capturing our ships. How? Your technology is primitive. Your species barely reached your moon. Song Ho laughed softly. That's what we wanted you to believe. We've found it's better to be underestimated. But how? Dimensional shifting, Song Ho explained. Your ships exist in three-dimensional space. We learned to step sideways into other dimensions centuries ago. Impossible, whispered Min Su. Yet here you are, Song Ho replied. Moved instantly from your ship to this facility through dimensional transport. Daho tried to process this revelation. The other crews, are they hostages? Guests, corrected Song Ho. Would you like to meet them? They're all quite comfortable. Most have chosen to stay and learn about our technology. Stay. Daho couldn't believe what he was hearing. You're saying they're here willingly. See for yourself. Song Ho gestured toward another doorway that appeared in the wall. Your predecessor, Admiral Tai from the last Zentari expedition, has been particularly interested in our dimensional physics. As the door opened, Daho saw hundreds of aliens from different species mingling with humans, studying displays, engaged in what appeared to be scientific discussions. They looked neither frightened nor confined. This changes everything, Jiwoo whispered. Daho nodded slowly. The mystery of the disappearing fleets was solved, but a much bigger question now faced them. What would the galaxy do when they learned that humans were the most advanced species of all? Admiral Daho followed Song Ho through the Mars facility with growing amazement. The simple human station they had observed from space was actually just the tip of an enormous complex that seemed to exist partially in another dimension. Parts of the walls would shimmer and reveal glimpses of spaces that shouldn't fit within the station's exterior dimensions. Our dimensional technology allows us to create spaces larger on the inside than they appear from outside, Song Ho explained, noticing Daho's wonder. Much like folding paper to connect two distant points. Jiwoo was practically buzzing with excitement. The scientific implications are extraordinary. This defies everything we understand about spatial physics. They entered a large chamber where dozens of beings from across the galaxy worked at strange console stations. Some Daho recognized from the missing fleets, including several Zentari officers who had disappeared 3 years ago. Commander Sung, Daho called out, spotting his former academy classmate. Commander Sung turned, his face lighting up with recognition. Admiral Daho, they told me you were coming. He approached and clasped Daho's arm in the traditional Zentari greeting. Isn't this place amazing? The humans have technology we never imagined possible. You've been here for 3 years, Daho said carefully. Are you not a prisoner? Sung laughed. A prisoner? No, I'm a student. An explorer. We all are. He gestured around the room. The humans welcomed us, taught us, made us partners in their research. Daho looked to Song Ho with suspicious eyes. Why? Why go to such lengths to hide your true capabilities from the galaxy? Why allow yourselves to be seen as primitive? A new voice answered. For safety, of course. They turned to see a human female approaching. She wore a simple white uniform with a small silver emblem on the collar. Admiral Su-min, Song Ho said with a respectful nod. Commander of Earth's dimensional fleet. Shu-min smiled at the visitors. Welcome to Mars Station. I apologize for the dramatic way we brought you here, but direct experience is better than any explanation we could give. You still haven't answered my question, Daho pressed. Why the deception? Su-min gestured for them to follow her to a private meeting room. Once inside, she activated a holographic display showing the Milky Way galaxy. We discovered dimensional technology about 300 years ago, she explained. It allowed us to observe other worlds without being detected. What we saw concerned us. The display zoomed in on various planets where conflicts rage, wars, invasions, conquests. Galactic politics seemed aggressive, Su-min continued. Species that revealed technological advantages were often targeted by alliances of others who feared being left behind. We decided to develop in secret until we understood the wider galactic community better. "So you've been watching us all this time?" Jigu asked. "Yes. We established outposts throughout this arm of the galaxy, all hidden in dimensional pockets. We studied, we learned, and we prepared." "Prepared for what?" Daho asked sharply. "For peaceful contact," Sumin replied. "We have no interest in conquest. I have seen recordings of it consuming an entire Earth in another dimension. If it reaches us, no conventional weapons will stop it." The council debated for 3 days. Some species wanted to attack Earth immediately, fearing human power. Others wanted to learn dimensional technology for themselves. A few simply refused to believe any of it was real. On the 4th day, Daho brought his final witness, a parade of alien officers from the missing fleets, including commanders long thought dead. Their testimony could not be denied. Finally, the Council voted to form an alliance with Earth. Human teachers would help other species develop basic dimensional technology. In return, the combined resources of the galaxy would be turned against the coming void. 6 months later, Daho stood on the bridge of his new ship, the Dimensional Defender. It looked like a normal Centauri warship from the outside, but inside it contained human technology that allowed it to shift partially out of normal space. "Fleet ready, Admiral," reported Captain Min-Su. Daho nodded. "Signal the human vessels. Begin phase shift on my mark." On view screens throughout the combined fleet, Admiral Su-Min's face appeared. "Remember your training," she said to the thousands of alien crews. "We don't fight the void in normal space. We fight it between dimensions." At the edge of the solar system, sensors detected the first tendrils of the void slipping into their reality. Dark, hungry fingers of nothingness that reached toward the nearest planets. "Phase shift. Now," ordered Daho. The fleet of 10,000 ships, human and alien together, shimmered and partially vanished from normal space. Now they could see the void for what it truly was, a massive storm of anti-energy that consumed dimensions themselves. "Dimensional anchors deployed," reported Jiwu, now Daho's science officer. "Energy barriers forming." The battle was unlike anything fought before in this galaxy. Ships moved between layers of reality, firing weapons that existed in multiple dimensions at once. The void fought back, sending waves of anti-energy that dissolved anything they touched. For 3 days they fought. Hundreds of ships were lost. But slowly, the combined fleet pushed the void back. On the 4th day, Director Taesung activated the dimensional lock, a massive device built by the combined science teams. It sealed the rift the void had used to enter their reality. When it was over, Admiral Daho stood with Su-Min on Earth, watching the sunrise from a mountain viewpoint. "Everything has changed," Daho said quietly. "For the better, I think," Su-Min replied. "Your people are learning dimensional travel quickly. Soon you'll build your own phase-shifted worlds." "And the next threat?" Su-Min smiled. "We'll face it together. That's the new way forward, not as separate species competing for resources in one dimension, but as allies across all realities." As they watched the sun climb higher, ships from a dozen worlds appeared in the sky above them, shimmering into existence from other dimensions. A new era had begun, with humanity leading the way into realities no one had imagined possible before. Min-Su's expression tightened. "Still no response, Admiral. All 12 have gone silent after passing the orbit of the 4th planet." Daho frowned. This matched the pattern of the previous fleets. Something was happening near Mars. "Science Officer Jiwu, your assessment." Jigu looked up from her station. The probes showed no signs of damage before transmission loss. One moment they were sending data, the next, nothing. It's as if they simply ceased to exist. Could it be a natural phenomenon, a wormhole or spatial anomaly? Possible, but unlikely. Our scans would have detected energy signatures. Daho made his decision. Prepare a small scout team. 3 ships will approach the orbit of Mars while the main fleet remains here. Min Su looked alarmed. Admiral, with respect, every ship that's gone near the inner system has vanished, which is why I will lead the scout team personally. The bridge fell silent. No one dared object further. 6 hours later, Daho sat in the command chair of the scout ship Swift Shadow as it moved cautiously toward Mars. 2 sister ships flanked it, all 3 maintaining full stealth protocols. Energy scan complete, reported the sensor officer. No unusual readings. Continue approach, ordered Daho. As they passed the asteroid belt, Jiwoo suddenly called out, "Admiral, I'm detecting a structure orbiting Mars." The view screen zoomed in on a small space station, a simple ring-shaped construct rotating slowly. "Human design," said Jiwoo. "Primitive by our standards. Materials analysis suggests it's only about 10 Earth years old. Life signs. None detected. The station appears abandoned." Daho studied the station. It seemed harmless enough, but appearances could be deceiving. "Take us closer. Prepare a boarding team." As the scout ships approached Mars orbit, the sensor officer called out again, "Admiral, the station, it's changing." On the screen, the simple ring structure began to shimmer like a mirage. Its appearance wavered, then transformed completely. What had looked like a primitive human station was now clearly something else. A massive, sleek structure with no visible seams or joins, gleaming with a metal unknown to Zentari science. "Full stop," ordered Daho. "Shields up. Prepare for." But before he could finish, a blinding light flooded the bridge. When it faded, Daho found himself standing in a vast white room. Jiwoo and Min Su stood beside him, looking equally confused. "Welcome to Mars Station 1, said a calm voice. A human male walked toward them. He was dressed in simple gray clothing with no markings of rank. His face was pleasant, his manner relaxed. "I am Song-ho, Earth Fleet Commander. We've been expecting you, Admiral Daho." Daho's hand moved to his weapon, but found it missing. "Your ship and crew are safe," continued Song-ho. "As are you. We mean no harm. How do you know my name? Where are we? What happened to the other fleets?" Song-ho smiled. "Please, follow me. It will be easier to show you." The emergency beacon pulsed weakly in the darkness of space. It was the only thing left of the once mighty Vixillian fleet. 30 warships, gone. The beacon's message played over and over, broadcasting across all frequencies. "Danger. Sol system. Unknown threat. Do not approach." In the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council, voices rose in anger and fear. Representatives from 100 worlds argued as the emergency session stretched into its 3rd hour. "This is the 7th fleet to vanish near that system," shouted Ambassador Trock, his blue skin darkening with emotion. 7 fleets, hundreds of ships, thousands of crew, all gone without explanation. The council leader, an ancient being with silver scales, raised his hand for quiet. "We must proceed with caution. What do we know about this?" "Earth?" A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing a small blue planet. "Earth is a Class 3 developing world," explained the Chief Intelligence Officer. "Its inhabitants have achieved basic spaceflight, but have not ventured beyond their moon. They have no weapons capable of destroying our ships." "Then what is happening to our fleets?" demanded a reptilian diplomat. The chamber fell silent. No one had an answer. Admiral Daho of the Zentari Empire stood. His people were known as the greatest warriors in the galaxy, proud and fearless. "My government volunteers to lead an investigation. We will discover the truth about these disappearances." Whispers spread through the chamber. The Zentari were powerful, but was even their might enough against this unknown threat? The council leader nodded slowly. "Very well, Admiral. The council accepts your offer." Later, in his private chambers aboard the Zentari flagship, Daho studied the reports of the missing fleets. Each had approached the Sol system. Each had sent regular updates. Then nothing. No distress calls. No signs of battle. They simply vanished. His second-in-command, Captain Min Su, entered with a respectful bow. "The fleet is ready, Admiral. 20 of our most advanced warships await your orders." Daeho looked up from the reports. "What do you make of this, Min Su? How can a primitive world threaten our most powerful ships?" Min Su considered the question. Perhaps it is not the humans. Perhaps something else hides in their system. Perhaps. Daeho closed the report files. "We will approach with caution. Full stealth protocols. No ship is to reveal itself until I give the command. And if we discover the humans are responsible." Daeho's expression hardened. "Then they will learn why the galaxy fears the Zentari." As the Zentari fleet prepared to depart, a small figure entered Daeho's chamber. It was Science Officer Ji Woo, young for her position but brilliant. "Admiral, I've analyzed the last transmissions from the missing fleets," she said. "There's something strange about them." "Explain." Ji Woo activated a small hologram. In each case, the final transmissions reported no problems. No warnings. No signs of danger. It's as if they never saw the threat coming. An invisible enemy. Or one they didn't recognize as a threat until it was too late. "You've hidden an entire civilization, dozens of worlds, billions of people." "Yes," Tai-Sung said simply, "and thousands of ships capable of moving between dimensions at will." To demonstrate, he touched a control panel. A portion of space visible through the window seemed to ripple, and suddenly a fleet of sleek vessels appeared where nothing had been before. "They were there all along," Su Min explained, "just out of phase with your reality." "Why show us now?" Ji Woo asked. "Why reveal your advantage?" Tai-Sung's expression grew serious. "Because the threat we face moves through dimensions like we do. Your conventional weapons and shields will be useless against it." He brought up a new image on the platform, a dark, shifting mass that seemed to devour light itself. "We call it the Void. It's consumed 3 parallel Earths already. It's not a species or a civilization. It's more like a dimensional storm that feeds on energy. And it's coming for this reality next." "How do we fight something like that?" Min Su asked. "With dimensional technology," Su Min replied. "We can teach your people to phase your ships, to create weapons that can affect the Void. But we need the resources and cooperation of the Galactic Council. That's why we brought you here," Tai-Sung said to Daeho. "The Zentari are respected warriors. If you tell the Council what you've seen, they'll listen." Daeho looked out at the human fleet that had appeared from nowhere. All this time, while the galaxy thought humans were barely spacefaring, they had been preparing for a war across dimensions. "You need me," he realized. "Despite all your power, you need someone the Council trusts." Su Min nodded. "Will you help us, Admiral? Will you help save not just your galaxy, but all realities?" Daeho looked at his officers, then back at the humans. "Show me more about this Void. If I'm to convince the Council, I need to understand exactly what we're facing." The Great Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so full. Representatives from every major species packed the chamber, with thousands more watching through communication links. At the center of the room stood Admiral Daeho, his Zentari uniform crisp and formal. The fleets did not disappear, Daeho announced to the stunned assembly. They were relocated by human dimensional technology. Technology that allows them to step between realities as easily as we walk through a doorway. Shouts of disbelief erupted from the gathered representatives. "Impossible," cried Ambassador Trock. "Humans are primitive. They barely reached their moon." "A careful deception," Daeho replied calmly. "While we explored outward into space, humans explored sideways into other dimensions. They have been watching us for centuries." The council leader raised his hand for silence. "Admiral, these claims are extraordinary. What proof do you offer?" Daeho nodded toward the back of the chamber. On cue, The air shimmered and Admiral Sumin appeared, seemingly from nowhere. Gasps filled the room as more humans materialized beside her. "Greetings," Sumin said. "I am Admiral Sumin of Earth's Dimensional Fleet. We come in peace and friendship." The chamber erupted into chaos. It took several minutes for order to be restored. "If you have had this power all along," the council leader finally asked, "why reveal yourselves now?" Sumin activated the small device. Above their heads appeared a swirling mass of darkness that seemed to eat light itself. "This is the Void," she explained, "a dimensional anomaly that consumes energy across all realities. It has already destroyed 3 parallel Earths. It will reach this galaxy within 1 year." Director Taesung stepped forward. "We have fought it before, but alone we can only delay it. With the combined resources of the Galactic Council, we might stop it completely." More shouting followed. Many representatives refused to believe, while others demanded immediate action. "Quiet." The council leader's voice echoed through the chamber. He turned to Dao. "Admiral, you have seen their technology with your own eyes. Can it truly do what they claim?" "Yes," Dao said without hesitation. "I have walked between dimensions. I have seen their hidden worlds. The human technology is beyond anything in our understanding of physics. And you believe this void is real."